All right. This morning, right now, even as we speak, former national security advisor to Donald Trump during his first term, John Bolton, that's right, everyone's favorite warmonger, on Friday, today, recently had his house in basically investigated or raided by the FBI, to which Kash Patel writes, no one is above the law. FBI agents on a mission. So this was a cryptic post shortly after the raid began. So did John Bolton do an oopsie? Did John Bolton crap the bed? Well, I'll let you decide. Let me go ahead and pull up this video here for all of you to see. This is breaking news, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the media space is going to be talking about this.
He is an MSNBC national security analyst. Rob, thank you for calling in. Details still pretty sparse, but give us your reaction to what we know so far.
Yeah, I always go off what my first instinct when I see a story. On this one, it was two-sided. I thought, wow, this is retribution. They said they were going to do that. But then I look at it and say, wait a second, if you supported the Mar-a-Lago raid to try to get classified documents out that were tried to quietly gotten them before, then you kind of have to support it, and the administration or the FBI can reopen an investigation. There's nothing wrong with that. It's intent. And when you looked at the Mar-a-Lago raid, there was a quiet effort to get those documents back, and they tried and tried. So I would really, want to understand, was that done here, or was this the show? Was this what they said they're going to do, so they want to come out and very openly say, this is what we're doing? It's been put out on X about not being above the law. I would say that goes to intent, but that's kind of the norm now. All the cabinet officials are just going straight to X when that wasn't done before. So I don't know if you can separate it by that, but I look at it as someone who's handled classified information, very highly sensitive stuff, every single day, and I was very careful with it. When I was in locations, I would have notebooks that weren't technically classified, but you're taking notes in a classified environment, and they stayed in that location.
And there it is, the cryptic tweet. No one is above the law. FBI agents on a mission at 7:03 a.m. From Director Kash Patel, which, by the way, this is a perfect distraction for the Epstein files. Oh, I had to drop that bomb.
I never brought him home. I never brought him to one other location. And then
I do like this guy saying, oh, yeah, I had classified documents, but I never brought him home or did anything. Dude, we get that you're trying to cover your butt, but listen, don't be making that stuff public. You just got to be hush-hush. You see, this is what happens, Sometimes people reveal their own lies. And as we all know, all lies
will be exposed.
Especially in 2025.
Had to burn them or shred them when I left there and couldn't bring them back. And I would want to look at, are we talking about documents that are stamped that he had in meetings that were openly classified, or are they going after a notebook, the notes on his book, notebooks that he took into meetings, because that's actually a lot harder to prove on the classified side when you take it to court.
So, Rob, we now have footage here of Ambassador Bolton's home. It's in Bethesda, Maryland, which, for those who don't know the area, suburb just to the north and west of Washington.
Okay, all right. Can you believe it says Bolton selling that crack? Maybe. Okay. And hold on. Shout out to Daniel. All lies will be deposed. Well, Daniel, I guess so. But let's be creative, audience. Besides national security documents, what other reason why would the FBI, no, not the full-blooded Italians, why would the FBI be raiding John Bolton's home? No such thing as a wrong answer, especially when I clip it. And by the way, be sure to add in a comment section, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I have to put that in there too, because let's face it, folks, it boosts up the algorithm in rhyme.
DC, which looks like perhaps some neighbors or others standing out front of the home right now. So, Rob, talk to us about what this would have looked like. You obviously spent years with the FBI. What typically, or walk us through some scenarios. This is an early morning raid. We know that the FBI tends to favor that time of day. What are some options here? How could this have gone down? What would this raid have looked like?
Yeah, You always want to do them early in the morning. There's a number of reasons, but most likely that the person's asleep and not in a position to really react quickly to if they're at the door. Not that you're going to be able to destroy a lot of documents and stuff, but that's always the time you look at doing it. The national security ones, I've been brought in on raids that no one in the office even knew about. The SWAT team gets called in the middle of the night. We show up, they brief us, and we didn't even know the investigation was going on. But we're then there for a search warrant, and you knock on the door. You have
knock on the door, whatever. Okay, so like break it down simple. So there's a probe looking into the handling of classified materials and potential incidents of such documents being used to leak to the news media. Now, we all know that John Bolton was part of the Trump administration during his first term. John Bolton was always foaming at the mouth for more war. John Bolton seemed to annoy Donald Trump. And the reason why, at least according to Trump's previous statements about John Bolton, the only reason why he had him around is because I guess he portrayed John Bolton as a rabid attack dog and Donald Trump was holding him back. But again, Johnny Boy seemed to have pushed his limits with Donald Trump because he always wanted more war. Now, of course, everyone, yes, it's fair to point out what's happening in Gaza, what's happening in Ukraine. But during Trump's first term, he did surround himself with a lot of people of the Bush Jr., Dick Cheney administration. And remember, a lot of those people were used to how Dick Cheney was running things with Bush Jr. They pretty much had the whole run of the show, and Dick Cheney had the final word. And it is to be assumed that possibly a lot of those people of that former previous administration, when they joined the Trump administration, thought that they were going to have the same kind of ride and song with Donald Trump, but turns out he was more headstrong, and Mike Pence was nothing more than a weak little flower. That wasn't going to happen. And of course, the more people pushed, or at least the more people started demanding things of Trump, the more Trump's not going to like you. And let's face it, folks. I mean, this is who Donald Trump is. It's who he's always been. And not saying that he doesn't have corporate owners or donors or people he owes favors to, but if you start annoying him, he's going to get tired of you. And eventually he got rid of Bolton, who in turn decided to go on MSNBC and be a wonderful contributor. I'm wondering, was he one of the many leaks because he was so spurred by Donald Trump by not doing more wars during the first term? We'll see. Perhaps he feels left out because there's all these wars happening right now in Ukraine and all over the Middle East, Yemen, Syria, Iran, Gaza. Perhaps John Bolton feels left out. A lover's quarrel.
Person come out. And again, the search warrant defines what you're allowed to look for. And in classified documents, you can actually look a lot because it can be on a thumb drive. So anywhere you can hide a thumb drive, you can search. So all those things are in there. It's going to lay out what documents you're looking for. What was the evidence, pointing you to those types of documents? Do they have, it was files, it was notebooks. So they're going to be looking in his office, but anywhere else where you could technically hide those, you're going to start looking at. And if they were up on text or something, you may have information like that saying where they are hidden or something like that, or emails back and forth that they went up on emails, say with his publisher, and he was talking about his book and his notes, that if that's what they're looking to go for. So those raids, though, you always do in the morning. You try to keep them quiet, but it's not going to happen. And the same thing, there's a lot of critical things on the Mar-a-Lago raid, how they did it. It wasn't the fact that they did it. It was very openly done. But there was a back effort. So, again, did they inform him beforehand trying to get these documents, couldn't get them, and then just finally did the raid? Or was it something like they had the investigation going, they got enough for a search warrant, and then they did the raid without telling them? Those will, I think, come out later on as they did in the raids that were done before. But, again, I support if you really think there's documents out there. I was kind of surprised if John Bolton had documents, knowing when the administration came in and what they actually said they were going to do, why he didn't maybe get with somebody in DOJ to get documents that may have been misplaced and in his residence back to the government, because they did kind of announce they were going to look to do this, and in fact they did. And I think everyone else that talked about doing this too now really needs to pay attention and maybe go back to DOJ and try to work something out.
You're right. It's a great point. Of course, the search at Mar-a-Lago came only after months of back and forth negotiations, the federal government reaching out.
Now, just for a little bit of a more further insight, I want to pull up this here from the notes. Now, we all know Bolton was part of Trump's first administration. Now, when he left office in the first time, he wrote a memoir in 2020. And of course, during that time, during Trump's first term, he wrote this memoir, and it was pretty much an insight into how Trump was running things. The book alleged that Trump frequently prioritized his personal interests and political interests over national security, and described various instances in what Bolton considered misconduct or incompetence in the administration's handling of international affairs. And of course, the Biden administration during his time from 2020 to 2024, the Justice Department and Bolton's attorney informed the federal judge that the government was dropping its legal efforts against Bolton over his book. Now, if we're just going to time travel a little bit, this was John Bolton 3 months ago, because I think, and I remember giving this warning to a lot of people who were doing all this legal lawfare against Donald Trump. And however which way you feel about Trump and his administration, that's fine. Think however which way you want. But I did warn everybody, you better hope your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, because if they're not, if the lawyers are doing, if the prosecution's doing real sloppy, no protection, no pull out, that's right, can't do any pull out, you better be ready that Trump's going to want his revenge. Because 3 months ago, or at least this month, 3 years ago, sorry about that, Mar-a-Lago was raided. So this is 3 years ago, not 3 months ago. Sorry. And John Bolton was in front of the camera, because I think a lot of people assumed that Trump was never going to come back into power again.
Any given moment. But I don't think he cared about the classification system. I don't think he appreciated the sensitivity of this information, and he didn't appreciate the sensitivity of how it was often acquired, the so-called sources and methods. So this had been briefed to him before I arrived. It was repeated frequently. I think it simply had no impact on him whatever.
There's a couple of different ways that people think about this, and people who are not friendly to the president who think about what's happened here. And one of them is, Donald Trump, master thief, criminal, running some kind of elaborate conspiracy to bring things out of the White House and keep them secret for potentially for political or financial gain. There are other people who attitude is Trump is chaotic. He's careless. He's not that smart. He took these things almost by mistake, and now he's basically stamping his feet and saying they're mine. I don't want to give them up. Give me a sense of where you think the truth lies with respect to Trump's intelligence, carelessness, and the degree to which he might have brought motive to bear on.
Look at that face. Look at that face on John Bolton. Hold on. He's blinking too much. Why are you blinking too much? There you go. Look, this is the face of a man who was denied war. Look at him. And he wishes he was part of the Biden administration doing all this war. He didn't get his shot. He wanted to ask the cool cheerleader out for prom. He wanted to ask her out, and it never happened. The main cheerleading captain. He wanted to ask her out. Forever war, and little boy Bolton didn't get anything. But yet here he is pouring gas on the fire about the Mar-a-Lago raid. Are you kidding me? Trump was keeping a record of everybody he wanted to hurt.
These documents out of the White House and keeping them for this long at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, it's very hard to speculate on motive other than that he liked cool things. He saw things so he wanted to take them, and he was pretty much able to take them, and not just on classified information matters, on all kinds of things that crossed his desk. Some days he liked to eat a lot of French fries. Some days he took classified documents. He wanted them.
Why'd you talk about French fries like that? Why are you talking about French fries, little homie?
Want them because he could get them.
Right. And
pouring that gas on the fire. Pouring that gas on the fire. Oh, but there's more. There's more from this breaking news. So let me go ahead and pull this up here. This is from our friends at Fox and Friends, of course.
David Spunt joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, David.
Hey, guys, not much we can say at this point, but information will continue to develop. As you mentioned, about 7 o'clock this morning, FBI agents raided Ambassador Bolton's home. Notable, we're being told by two government sources that they are looking for classified documents as part of a potential leak investigation. We're told that Ambassador Bolton is not in custody. He's not under arrest. But it is notable they are at his Maryland home right now. We don't know how many agents are there. We're waiting to get a picture of the scene coming in right now. But we're told Ambassador Bolton, who was just on TV on another network a couple days ago talking about the Russia-Putin-Trump summit, is now under FBI investigation. Now, I want to be clear. These are long, and we're looking at some live photographs right now in Bethesda. That's clearly the road where Ambassador Bolton lives. And you can see some police cars outside there. But, you know, this is going to be a long process. We saw the raid of former Trump advisor Roger Stone's home down in Florida several years ago. Eventually, he went to trial. We saw famously in August of 2022, exactly 3 years ago, a little bit more than 3 years ago, the raid on Mar-a-Lago. That still has the FBI in hot water. That's a little bit of a different situation as it was a former president, but it deals with classified documents.
Now, I do want to play something else here, too, and I'm trying to confirm if this is the real thing or not. But for people watching, ladies and gentlemen, the president of the United States, Trump, coming on at 10:17 wearing a Trump was right about everything hat 45-47 while saying nothing about John Bolton. Please explain this to me.
Listening. Talk, he's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did.
Trump knows nothing about it. So that means Kash Patel's doing everything on his own at what, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning when everyone's just waking up, about to do their morning dump, morning exercise, morning breakfast, morning shave, morning shower. Come on, going on the morning road, going to their job, 9 to 5. Trump, say that again.
He could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister.
I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know, but just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer, but.
Hey, let's have democracy in the chat, engagement in the chat, engagement in the comment section when I clip this video. Do you believe that Trump knows nothing about this? Type 1. He knew nothing about it, Kit. Sometimes you'd be surprised. You wake up and you know nothing. Type 2. No, he knew everything. Okay, he knew everything. I wonder how many 1s or 2s will show up in the chat. Let's be generous here. No such thing as a wrong answer. Just give an answer.
I feel that it's better this way.
Foreign Minister Lavrov said no meeting is planned right now between Putin and Zelensky. Absent that meeting, what are the next steps in your view?
Well, we'll see. We're going to see if Putin and Zelensky will be working together. You know, that's like oil and vinegar a little bit. They don't get along too well.
Putin. There you go. A little bit more into this. Let's play it.
Guys.
So I did not realize this, but there was a probe going on when President Trump was in office last time because John Bolton wrote a book and he violated his NDA, the president said, in doing it. And he felt as though there were classified information in that book. The probe dropped when Joe Biden became president. So is this picking up where that left off, David?
It's possible. I don't know with 100% certainty, but it is notable, guys, that John Bolton, Ambassador Bolton's security clearances were stripped earlier this year by President Trump. Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, took that security clearance away. They had concerns. The administration had concerns about Ambassador Bolton still being able to access some of these documents and have some of those security clearances. It's also notable that John Bolton had a security detail as well because of the threats from Iran on his life. That security detail, that government federal paid security detail, was also taken away by President Trump. So Bolton was to have to get some private security. So we're looking out.
Hey, welcome to the real world. Have a sword, have a crowbar, get a gun.
Inside this home right now in Bethesda, Maryland. We're told that Ambassador Bolton's being cooperative. He's not under arrest, not in custody.
My main man Yusuf says Bolton cucks so hard for the military-industrial complex that no real harm will come to him. Are we certain about that, though? That is the serious question. By the way, Nick Thompson, fellow Chicagoan, tipped $5. Thank you so much. This is great. Where are the Epstein files? Trump is like a child doing anything to avoid going to bed at bedtime. Keep up the good work, Kit. Hey, no problem, Nick. Hey, by the way, everyone check out Nick Thompson and his podcast, but I also want to give a shout out to CB Applejack59, who tipped $5. Thank you so much. Showing love to Real Independent Media Machine. Thank you so much. Please, everyone, support Hardlands Media's GoFundMe defense. Thank you. I am going Sunday to East Palestine to interview for Misty Winston. Great work. CB Applejack59 is a phenomenal independent on-the-ground reporter. He's been doing some great work for RBN, Indy. I think he's done some work for, I think Indy Left a few times. Just want to make sure that everyone understands that CB Applejack 59 is a real one. I want to give two shout outs to two good people. CB Applejack, again, East Palestine, Ohio, might catch me on the show. Good. Loving all the good work and seeing good people doing great things. And hey, it's a good morning because Bolton is getting screwed up the wazoo
at this point, but still notable, 7 o'clock on a Friday morning, that the FBI all of a sudden is knocking on the door of John Bolton's home. And I also will say it's important that, this is not just the FBI able to do this. A judge has to sign off on this. There are other layers involved here. It's not just the FBI says, let's go to John Bolton's house tomorrow morning and see if.
Hence why I doubt that Donald Trump does not know. Of course, Trump knows. Of course, he's going to know. Perhaps maybe not email or text message or phone call, but probably a whisper or a note or a, smoke signal. But here's Bolton's own words being used against him, said by Scott Jennings on CNN.
Scott, what do you see here?
Well, I'm reminded of something that I heard someone say after the Mar-a-Lago raid. And the statement was, everybody ought to just calm down, whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump, and let the process work its way through. That was said by John Bolton himself after the Mar-a-Lago raid on Trump. Look, I try not to engage too much in conjecture on these things. All we really know is what Caitlin just told us, that this is related to an investigation regarding information he put in his book. We know that they're searching for things. And that's it. That's what we know. And so Ambassador Bolton's previous views on this were that processes should be allowed to work their way through. I assume this one will work its way through. And if he has not disclosed any classified information, that will be fine and good. And we'll talk about that. And if he has, I'm sure we'll talk about it as well.
Scott, what do you?
All right. So his own words being used against him. Now, Donald Trump has gone on the record saying that, of course, that he didn't know anything about it. But I want to pull up something else here as well. 35 seconds. Only at least 35 seconds, okay? Only 35 seconds. But this was John Bolton 12 days ago. Now, not 3 years ago, but 12 days ago. John Bolton agreeing that Trump and Kash Patel are poised to go after political enemies. Political enemies. There's a hit list. And all the while, for us to forget about the Epstein files, I had to drop that gem in there one more time.
Before you go, we're about to talk about Trump's retribution campaign we're seeing at the FBI and the Justice Department. You're obviously on his enemies list, at least Kash Patel's enemies list. Are you worried that they're going to come after you in some way? He's hinted at it before.
Well, I think he's already come after me and several others in withdrawing the protection that we had for from the Iranians for the attack on Qasem Soleimani. So I think, and I said in the new forward of the paperback edition of my book, I think it is a retribution presidency.
Before you go.
Well, yeah, of course it's going to be a retribution presidency. I said it was going to be a retribution presidency. Do you listen? Last year, 2024, this is where a part of me sympathized with Trump. All that legal lawfare that he was going through. I'm like, wow, holy cow. They were really trying to end him. And look, however which way you feel about him, I felt that all that legal bull, which again turned out to be bull, turned out to be nothing but crap, was a waste of time, energy, And if you didn't think Donald Trump was waiting of, oh, I'm going to get back at these people, it's going to be retribution. It's going to be retribution. It's going to be full-blown retribution. Well, then you're not paying attention. Pay attention here, okay? Because a lot of people really thought that this was the end for Donald Trump. Now, again, if you're just tuning in right now, I have the video of, again, Donald Trump saying that he knew nothing. He knew nothing, and that Bolton wasn't a smart guy, that he was not a smart guy at all.
Purpose because,
and again, what's funny is he's wearing the Trump was right about everything hat.
as you know, he was one of the people that forced Bush to do the ridiculous bombings in the Middle East. Bolton, he wants to always kill people, and he's very bad at what he does. But he worked out great for me because.
Leora, to answer your question, he's being investigated for holding on to classified material and documents, very similar to the accusations that hit Joe Biden and Donald Trump as well, and other people in previous administrations.
Every time he doesn't talk, he's like a very quiet person, except on television. If he could say something bad about Trump, he'll always do that. But he really doesn't talk. He's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh, no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me, probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister.
I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know, but just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer, but I feel that it's better this way.
Foreign minister.
So there's probably going to be a little bit more fallout. I'll be keeping an eye on this if there's going to be any other updates in regards to John Bolton and this FBI raid on his house. Be prepared to see other people who were previous members of the Trump administration deal with the retribution. Democrats, CNN, maybe other corporate media pundits. Trump has a list. He's checking it twice. Going to find out who's naughty or nice. And no, the Walrus Protection Act, the Sea Mammal Protection Act, will not protect John Bolton. That's not my joke. I've been seeing a couple people. Eric Hoos, I think you did a joke very similar to it, as well as a few other people. Mastermind. Want to give a shout out to the people making the joke. So no, but this proves once again stuff that I called out. Anyone from 2020 to 2024, people who were cheering on all this legal lawfare against Donald Trump, the torture that it went through. And let's face it, all this legality that Trump was going through was torture. Listen, I'm not a fan of all this BS, and I was not a fan of all the BS that Donald Trump was going through because I felt it was a waste of time. And I gave a warning. If you want to defeat Donald Trump, defeat him on policy. Don't expect the courts to save the day. Everyone was saying that the walls were closing in. The walls were closing in. All what Donald Trump did was put a strong steel bar between those walls, build a little ladder, and climb on out of the box, okay? The walls were not closing in. They were stopped. And Donald Trump avoided all that legal lawfare. He came out on top. Everyone that was trying to hurt him, guess what? He survived it. And look, I'm not a fan of the Republican Party or Democrat Party. But if you wanted to defeat Donald Trump, if the Democrats were really serious, they put all their eggs in one basket for stupid, needless, legal lawfare. And everyone expecting that everything is going to be done lawfully is nothing. Listen, you're believing in a hype dream, okay? Revenge is the watchword. Despair everybody who was involved. And what better way to make an example out of somebody than John Bolton, who was Donald Trump's war dog, attack dog, and he didn't like him. It got to the point where Donald Trump was annoyed with him and got rid of him. So we'll see what happens further on. But I think John Bolton's cushy days of being a CNN, MSNBC, not MSNBC, MS Now, Miss Now contributor are far behind him. We'll see if there's any full-on consequences, but there's a list, and there's going to be more to follow. A perfect distraction. Hey, now what about those Epstein files? Kash Patel? Dan Bongino? Anybody? Yeah, probably not.